Hey everybody, it's Lori. It starts with us, 52124. Cycles we do not understand. Voice in the dark with Lori Elliot. We do not consent to the world circus. We are sovereign. We are enough. We are just where we need to be. See description for prayer and healing info and coaching. I wanted to talk about this because so many of us go through life cycles, and we've all adjusted to the fact that it seems like we go through the 7 year itch, they called it, where 7 years you're really, in the gusto to do something new and da 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 and get all this energy, and then you go through a 7 year depression. Um, we're familiar with those cycles, but I'm talking about relationship cycles, relationships that don't make any sense to us. And I know that you've all heard the, formal counseling of, well, isn't it something that we always marry someone like our fathers? If that doesn't fit for you and you're still having relationship issues, um, try a hypnotherapist because they'll take you into a past life. Some people don't want to believe in them, but they are real. And if it heals you, who cares where it came from or what lifetime it was. But I had asked God one time, I said, how in God's name do you expect me to make this huge choice between good and evil? And I was 12, by the way. And I told him, I said, I don't understand how you think I can fit everything in that life has to offer and make this one decision in one lifetime. And I was given a book that same day, and it was Many Lifetimes about past lives. We're not real familiar with it here in the West, especially religious-wise, but a lot of Eastern philosophies and stuff have made it to the country, and so you probably heard of it. And what I'm saying is that this is a playground for us. This is like a movie. It's like it's like a raw experience, And our souls are perfect. It's just us in this avatar that our soul wanted to experience some weird stuff, okay? And we make arrangements before we come into this world. And one of the things that you need to really understand is that if you're getting stuck in the same type of cycles over and over again, there's something you're not facing or dealing with, and you're not learning a lesson from it or understanding what it's coming from. And because of that, you are continually making the same choices and decisions in your life. They're not easy to face our own inadequacies or our own ignorance to a situation. But it is necessary. And once you do, and you observe it, whatever the situation brings up, and that's why I always say hypnotherapy, because you become an observer like a third person, and you will witness where it came from, you'll understand it, and boom, you're free of it. So really, depression shouldn't last that long, and things shouldn't be so difficult for us, and we're meant to really get out there and experience more life and more life and more life and more life and keep living and keep living. I'm 64 and I'm starting all over again, and it's a trip to say the least. And I never dreamed I'd be here, without all my titles, mother and grandmother and wife and, manager or whatever, because I retired too. So it's interesting to get to this part of life, but I thought I've got time now. I'll go ahead and share some of my stories, and maybe somewhere along the line it'll help somebody. And but get out of that damn cycle, because it is not worth giving up your life for, your whole life, over some misery that you accumulated in another lifetime or in a childhood. Um, that's not what we're meant to do. We're meant to face it, feel the pain, walk through it, sit with it for a minute or two, walk through it, see it for what it is. And it was just a story. Painful, but it was a story. And one of the blessed things about being a human is that we are able to emotionally feel so deeply and greatly that it sometimes takes the best of us when we have a shocking pain, or how could somebody not love me when I gave them all my love. Well, people, this isn't about putting down other partners either, past partners or current partners. It is about understanding that before we came here, we made agreements, and that partner made an agreement that they would help you try to see this lesson that you were meant to learn, which usually is seeing it as a cycle and not having enough self-worth or self-value to say no sooner. Not later, but sooner. And then see where it all started from, and then you can let it all go. You can forgive the past, and it's not to forgive others that what they did was wrong and they'll pay a price for it. That's how we kind of do this school thing. And the thing is that people make agreements before birth to experience certain things. And if it doesn't make sense to you, that's probably why. It's probably a soul contract. And those soul contracts are for helping us see something we do repetitively. And it 90% of the time has something to do with self-worth. So look in that mirror and say, I love you just as you are, with all your flaws, or all your perceived flaws and your little idiosyncrasies and all that, and start fresh today. It doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how young you are. Start today to love yourself a little bit more, and to see and sit with those feelings and see where they're coming from, and then forgive the person that's giving you the lesson, because they made this agreement. And the sooner you learn, maybe they'll learn their thing and get over it. You never know. That might be something else that's worth looking at. But it's really about us, each of us. And God wants us to live. And we're going into the greatest time in history for humankind. And I'd just love to see everybody make it, and or get there as soon as they can. And the only way you're going to do it is to be able to sit down and see yourself, really. I was one of those who buried all my pain. I wasn't going to let one son of a bitch know that they hurt me. Not one. And I'm talking verbal abuse and stuff like that, and swats from a teacher, My father was the only man that ever laid a hand on me and survived. No other man has ever laid a hand on me. If he did, that was the last time he ever touched me. So the thing is that because abuse is wrong, and we take a lot of crap from our parents, but hey, out there in the real world, no way. So, and that goes for guys too. I mean, don't take any abuse from a woman. And I know there's women out there that are just batshit crazy too. And but these cycles, especially if we're starting to see one in someone we love, especially a young person, it would help if you fixed your own stuff so that you could share how to help them get through theirs, so that they don't waste their life. They don't waste 30, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years of their life because they keep going into dumb relationships because there was something in there they didn't see, and they didn't know how to love themselves enough to stand up to them. I remember the first time um, I was 17 and I had a really good date coming up. So I wanted to go buy some new clothes. And I was getting ready to leave, and my dad stopped me. We owned a restaurant and a dinner theater and a bar and all that. And he goes, no, I wanted you to go help me. Somebody needed a stone fireplace. He wanted it built in his cabin, and it was 2 stories and blah, blah, blah. He goes, well, you're the only person I can trust to build it right. And I'm like, Dad, I just can't do it. And finally, I just looked at him, and I was so frustrated. I said, I don't want to work for you anymore. And I want to go on a date, and I need new clothes. You know, I'm going shopping. You know, I'm going to be like a real girl today. And, which was, you know, I was raised a tomboy. And, I finally looked at him. I thought, this is it. You know, he's going to hit me right here in front of God and everybody this time. I said, you know what? Fuck you, sir. And he looked at me. I said, I don't want to work for you anymore. And he shook my hand. I was waiting for him to hit me, and he shook my hand. He said, I've been waiting for you to stand up to me like a man. And I thought I was going to pass out. Now, I don't recommend doing this if you have a violent home. But I do recommend you standing up for yourself any other time. And then when you get away from your violent home, you know, say la vie, you don't have to go back. But anyway, shit. And you have a voice, use it. But mostly use it to love yourself. Love yourself enough to love others more. But love yourself enough to stand up for yourself too. And if you sense you're in a bad relationship, then find a way out as quickly as possible. And get a hypnotherapist, because they really help going through. Make sure they specialize in hypnoregression. And then they'll be familiar with past lives if they come up. Because I had one where when I got certified to do it, we were practicing, me and this other gal that were taking the class together, and she forgot to be specific with a question, and it took me all the way back to my first incarnation, which was a mathematical equation, you know, when God first started thinking shit up. So that was the very beginning. Everything was black in the universe. So make sure that, you know, it's a professional. They know what kind of questions to ask. Make sure they're specific on when. Because I've had that problem again with another therapist. And it was like, took me all the way back to Egypt, which was good because I needed to understand where this came from and why. And it also had a lot to do with my money issues in this lifetime. So you may find out more about yourself than you know. And it's a good thing, because once you realize it, and you find it, and you see it, and you experience it, and as you do it and under hypnosis, it is not as painful. You're an observer. I mean, you understand why it was painful, you know. And but free yourself, and then it's really, really worth it. So anyway, that's what I got for you tonight. And start living, because we're supposed to live, and we're supposed to live deeply and loudly and wildly. So start doing all that, because you have a right. As long as you take breath, you have a right to exist and take up space. You have a right to your voice. Know that. And you have a right to love yourself and be proud of yourself, and not arrogantly, but just healthy confidence, and enjoy your life, because that's the biggest test here. Can you get through all this hell? Because this is hell. This is not earth. This is hell. They don't tell you that, but you'll figure it out. And it works against you. But the thing is, it appears to work against you. because it will give you fears and insecurities and all this in the beginning. But if you learn to look at those things, if you want to beat the matrix, because this is like a game, then you go take a good look at yourself. And then you forgive yourself. You forgive others. You don't have to forgive them to their faces. You forgive them in your heart and tell God to take care of it however he chooses. Or source, or whatever you call it, the goddess, or nothing, universe. Give it up to a higher power. And then you live in the most free, flamboyant, and free and wild way that you can. Not wild in the drugs and alcohol and all that crap. That's the devil's playground. You don't want anything to do with that. It just drags you down, leaves you down. They love it. I don't like the devil to win, so I'm going to get happy, and I'm going to live, and I am going to live wildly and precociously, and I just want everybody else to do the same. That's how you break through the matrix, by finding a way to forgive, forget, let go, and live. Live even more. But it's learning to love yourself even more. And I guess that's it. Lori out.